Hey, folks, good to be here with you. Today, we're talking all about marketing and AI, and how to keep your marketing quote unquote organic in the age of AI. You'll get the reference as you listen to the episode. So, this is all about, how to use AI ethically and practically and not kind of lose your soul in the process and just contribute to the AI nonsense that is just populating the internet all over the place. So, my guest today is Jennifer Christensen. Jennifer is the co founder and CMO, Chief Marketing Officer of Beacon Media Plus Marketing, which is a national digital agency partnering with visionary leaders to grow authentic, sustainable brands. Beacon specializes in ROI driven marketing campaigns that deliver measurable impact for businesses and nonprofits. The work that they do has a purpose, and that purpose drives everything that they build. Outside the office, she's a proud wife of 30 years, mom to 3 amazing adult kids, and a passionate traveler who loves time with family and friends. So, we talk about a lot of different things today. We talk about her personal connection to mental health, how it shaped her marketing career, different types of marketing, and even just a definition of marketing in the context of mental health. We, of course, talk about AI and how it's transforming marketing, practical ways that you can implement AI in your marketing if you want to do it yourself, lots of many other topics. So there's plenty to take away from this, I think, as usual. And there's even quite a bit of discussion for those of you who want to get into the philosophical aspects of AI and what it means for us. So lots to latch on to here. Let's see. At this point in the game, we are in, should be late July, if my calendar is right. So there may be a spot or two left in one of the Testing Psychologist mastermind groups. Doesn't hurt to check it out. You can go to the testingpsychologist.com/consulting and book a pre-group call and get more info and see if group coaching experience might be right for you. In addition to that, of course, we have all the resources that we talk about in the episode today listed in the show notes. And Jennifer mentions in the podcast, she loves doing these 15-minute consultations with folks just to chat about AI and marketing. So you can find her on LinkedIn and schedule one of those if the desire strikes you. But without further ado, here is my conversation with Jennifer Christensen on digital and AI marketing. Jennifer, hey, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here. Appreciate the invite.
Yeah, of course. I mean, everybody loves AI and loves talking about AI. And so, happy to have you on and take this different angle. We talk about AI in the clinical work quite a bit, but it's going to be really interesting for me personally, and I think my audience, to talk about AI from a marketing standpoint, because I haven't delved too much into that. So, I'm just grateful that you're here. Good. So I'll start with the question that I start everyone with, which is, of all the ways you could spend your time and energy and life, why focus on this topic in particular?
So as far as AI goes, I've always been just an early adapter. So that's
Mm,
it's like 16. Definitely was like the first girl in my computer class, Gen X. So was one of the very first people to ever buy dial-up. If any of you are old enough to remember that,
yes,
I remember being like in line for that. I was like one of the first 50 people, and just
love
I
that.
love building and learning together. So those two things are like my core, what just drives me. As far as like being involved in digital marketing and mental health, I have a really personal story from the mental health side that, definitely my life was saved at 19 uh,
Mm,
because of getting, help in that area. And, just there wasn't enough talked about. Like if I had known sooner, it wouldn't have been quite such a dramatic experience.
hmm
But it just always stuck with me that when I would share my story with people, it was like so foreign for them to even talk about, getting help or going to therapy. And, thank God somebody stepped in and helped me with that. So to me,
mm.
I was actually going to go be a psychologist. And that was my goal. And then I got halfway through school and decided, okay, I really don't think I'd be great at this. So I think I really respect it so much. but I think I'd be better in business and marketing. So to be able to do the two is like truly, it's a gift.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a cool marriage. There are lots of ways to come at this and sort of like be adjacent to the
Right,
field and still do a
right.
little bit of the work. Yeah.
I'm really grateful.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. It seems like that's a kind of a familiar origin story for a lot of folks in like these ancillary fields, I guess, that specialize in mental health. Like
Yeah,
accountants or marketing folks or
yeah,
whomever. We had a positive experience, which is always good to hear.
yeah. It is. Yeah, life changing for sure.
Nice, nice. Well, I'm glad you're doing it because we don't always have a great sense of what we should be doing from the marketing side, especially when
Yeah,
AI comes into play.
I think it's a tough. I didn't expect quite it to be so. Like when we started Beacon, we were mainly working with small businesses, small local businesses, and then we did work with a couple mental health clinics that we still work with.
Hmm.
And but one thing I kept finding over and over again is many people that go into the field. It's not like you go into it as a business owner, right? So it's almost like an accidental business owner, and there's so much that comes with that. I just have so much respect and um yeah, just empathy, because it's one thing to go into a business and know what you're getting into and like all the things you're going to have to deal with. It's another thing to go in. Do you want to stop and see if we can figure this out?
Sure.
Do you think it's on my end?
I think so, but I
I've been on
can't.
two podcasts and it hasn't been there.
That's super weird. Can you hear it too?
Yeah, but it's really light. It's like a every once in a while, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
Um,
Let me see if I can shut down. I think I've shut down everything.
are you on a Mac or a PC?
I'm on a Mac.
Okay. Is it one of those things like where your phone is somehow like,
Oh my gosh, my phone's close. I wonder if that's it. Oh, you're so smart. It could be. It totally
no, I've just had this experience.
right, because it would be like pinging it right for.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was like
Totally.
literally sitting right here, which I normally don't do. That could totally be it. Okay, I just turned the
Nice.
phone completely off.
Oh, okay. Okay. Cool.
Let's see
Okay.
if that. So,
That sounds good.
sorry, but I was like, oh, I don't
Oh,
want
no.
to have to like go through and try to edit that out.
No,
Um,
it's all good.
so
So,
sorry, where were we?
yeah, yeah. I was trying to think. Hmm, what's the bridge here? Maybe we just transition into basics,
Sure.
definitions,
Yeah,
background. Yeah. So we'll
yeah,
just be quiet for a second, then I'll jump
yeah,
back in.
perfect. What is that?
I'm like looking around.
I know, right?
Okay.
I know. I'm gonna look here too.
The
Okay,
weird thing is, it sounds like the sound is like external somehow. Because I don't know. Are you wearing earbuds or headphones or anything?
I'm not.
Oh, okay. Um,
Let me see.
can you do that setting up in the top right, where you can turn on Do Not Disturb? For me, it's like right beside the date and clock. Are you there? Oh, oh, it looks like you're on mute. All right. How's it looking?
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was intense. I was
What a
like,
ride.
it was not showing in my bar at all, so I had to go all the way into settings and completely
Oh.
reset the whole thing. So, okay,
Oh my gosh. Okay.
okay,
Okay.
it's gonna be a great
Okay.
podcast because I haven't had that ever happen before. So, yeah.
Awesome. All right. I'm glad we figured it out. Yeah. Sweet. Okay. So, yeah, we'll just pause for a second and I'll ask a question about, we can transition, to content, I suppose. Great. Well, let's go ahead and dive into some definitions and background. So, I would love, so like I said, I don't really have a good idea of how AI even looks in marketing.
Unbelievable. Uh, okay, I've got it on Do Not Disturb. Do you have any other ideas?
Oh my gosh. My only other thing is maybe if you have headphones or something, can you put in headphones and then at least like it won't show up on the recording. You'll hear it,
Yeah,
but
but then it won't be there.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, do you want to give me just 2 minutes?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh
Gosh, I
gosh,
don't know.
that's terrible. I've been on like two podcasts today. I haven't had any problems whatsoever.
I wonder
So
what.
weird. Yeah, let me go grab it. I'll be right back.
Okay, okay.
I know what it is.
Oh,
It's I know it's the power cord surging.
oh,
I've heard that before. That's what it. I know it. I know that's what it is.
of course. Yes. I don't know why I couldn't place that sound.
I couldn't
That's
either.
like,
But I've like heard it before, and I was like, as I went upstairs, I'm like, that's what that is.
okay, okay.
We're good.
I'm glad we figured it out.
You too.
Okay, this feels good. I feel really good about restarting. Okay,
Okay.
okay. So I'm gonna go back. I'll ask that. I'll ask that question again. Okay, great. Yeah, I'm excited to talk with you about all this. So maybe we start with just some background and get the lay of the land, so to speak, with AI and marketing. This is not an area that I've delved into very much, so I would love to just hear your thoughts on what's out there, what's available, and how AI is even coming into marketing and mental health.
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. So I got into this about 3.5 years ago. As I talked about being an early adopter, I was pretty excited when I saw this coming. And at first, I was really, really excited for what it was going to do in marketing. There was actually already, some AI tools out there, even 2022, when I really started getting into it. I did go through kind of a dark night of the soul about it in 2024, not going to lie. About 6 months, I was just like, I don't want anything to do with this, because I just, could see some of the potential downfalls for sure. But I really have come back about the last 6 months, and what I've really decided for myself, and the reason I'm starting with this is I think it's important for everyone to really think about their own mindset around it first, and then the tools. Um, but really decide, what is your relationship going to be with it. So my relationship with it is, I want to know it, understand it, and use it for good, and help other people use it for good as well. So that's really where I've come to. It's pretty basic, but it helps me stay on that course. There are tremendous benefits in marketing. I mean, it is a phenomenal tool. I'm using the $200 ChatGPT, so a little bit more advanced on that. We're using
Hmm.
AI for editing videos. We're using AI for brainstorming as part of our like brainstorming for brands, for market research, for deep research. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can use it. I think from a mental health perspective, as far as marketing goes, as I was talking about, so many of the clients that we deal with are accidental business owners, or they thought about business kind of secondary.
Hmm.
And so it can be a great tool to even understand, even just be having a conversation, because I think that's, you have to change your mindset with AI. It's not about just getting answers like you do from Google, but having a conversation back and forth about, hey, I'm trying to understand what would be the best way to market my practice. What are my competitors doing? What are the things I don't know? Ask me those questions back, so that you're actually having that can be really effective. Um, and it's not going to replace all the execution of the work, but it can definitely give you a heads up on the reality of what's actually happening in marketing. You know, so much about digital marketing is negative, and I understand why. There's a very low barrier to entry for people to get into marketing, digital marketing in particular, and so there's a lot of misinformation out there. So what AI can do is you can kind of test some of those theories yourself. And what's going to make you better at really scaling your practice, if that's what you want to do, or just, keeping it full, all those things. If you are going to work with somebody in marketing, the more knowledge you can have of like what success means, the better you're going to be off. So even if you're still outsourcing, does that make sense? You're getting
Hmm.
enough information that you can go, I don't think that's right. Like let me
Hmm.
like let me check that. Or okay, that does make sense. I see why we need to say fix my website for better user experience, right? Um,
Hmm.
it just gives you direct information and data that you can use to make better decisions if you're talking from a marketing perspective, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. There are a few things that I want to highlight from what you just said. I love the idea of thinking deliberately before you jump into using these tools and think about, what do you want to get out of it. I think that's an important question with many things that we do, but even more important with AI, because it can spin out very quickly and you can end up
Yes.
down some crazy rabbit holes.
Yep.
Yeah. And my wife is also in private practice and does podcasting and consulting, and she was saying the other day, I came home and was like, how are you doing? How was your day? And she's been using ChatGPT a lot, but that particular day, she's like, I got totally lost in ChatGPT and it was giving me these ideas and I was following these threads and I ended up somewhere in like 2 hours and I was like, this isn't even helpful. So it's really easy to just go down
Yeah.
those rabbit holes and get a little lost. So I love that you talk about being deliberate about how you want to use it right from the beginning.
And I think it's important from a marketing standpoint too. Just it's that balance between, you know, double checking all the information that you're getting for sure. I do really like some of the deep resource tools, or Perplexity is really great, because you are getting links to direct articles. Most of the clients we're dealing with are very educated, so they know to look for those things anyway. So I don't feel like I have to give a lot on that for sure. But there are some great things. Like a lot of clients come to us, and we're on the lower end of the marketing agency world, as far as like we'll take clients that are even pretty small, uh,
Hmm.
because we want to help them scale. But a lot of times they can only afford a part. of outsourcing. So it makes total sense. Like, hey, I can afford this part, which would be helpful here, but I could do these things internally. And I think some of the best stuff you can do internally is some of your social, writing content. If I mean, a lot of people I've noticed in the mental health field actually are pretty good writers, researchers, all
Oh yeah.
of that, right? So being able to take like content that you would write even for kind of higher purposes and use ChatGPT or use one of the other tools to help you make it a little bit more optimized for the general public, right?
Hmm.
There's a lot of ways to use it that are
Hmm.
really, really effective.
Yeah, I think that might actually be helpful if we just take a couple seconds to zoom out and even define marketing in this context. I mean,
So
I think that's maybe a more well-known term in the business world, and we don't really have a great idea of what it means. So, what do you when you say marketing, like what are the different avenues or paths that we might consider with this?
Sure. So there's marketing in general is broken up into different areas. So you've got marketing, which is more promotion, which is not something that is generally done in the mental health industry at all. So promotion is definitely more like the advertising side of what you would think of marketing. And then there's more like the inbound marketing, and that's my favorite. So
Mm,
inbound marketing is really what you're doing is you're showing up in the right places where people are already looking for what you're doing. So you make sure that, if somebody is searching for a grief counselor near me and you show up as an possible avenue. So inbound marketing is really, I love it because to me it's not in your face. When you think of like, it's like the salesperson that you actually want to talk to versus the one that you don't want to talk to. So
hmm.
looking for something and you actually want somebody to help you. To me, that's inbound marketing, and the whole thought process around inbound marketing started it's about 40 years, 30 years old now.
Hmm.
But the whole thought process around it is that the better you are at removing barriers for people to get the information that they need, the more likely you are to convert them. So, and I have found that absolutely to be true. So if you make it really, really hard to like connect with your practice, to figure out what you're doing, to like people don't know what you specialize in, they don't know your availability, any of those things, they might find you, but then it's going to be harder to actually have them convert into a client. So those are really the two different theories on marketing. I mean, there's also kind of the story brand part of marketing, which is more um, just really telling a story behind the practice or really like sharing
Hmm.
that part of it. And we do work in that area as well. So we do work in the
Mm,
storytelling area as well, which I really enjoy that. We have
yeah.
a couple of our clients that are even doing their own podcasts like you are, that are really focusing on personal brand. And with the direction of where everything is going with AI, some of these things are changing pretty dramatically. They still have the same roots, but how you now interact with LLMs, large language models, or the AI tools is different than how you've been interacting with Google or Bing or any of those types of sources.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Marketing it feels like such a diffuse topic that it's like we all should know about, but don't really have a great idea of
I mean,
what it is.
I have my definite theory. Like, if you were to ask me to break it down, I would say great marketing is converting conversations. So
Mm,
being in the right place at the right time, having the right information, and it should be a great conversation. It should not be manipulative. It should not be, fear based or any of those things. I'm against all of that. It does work in a short term, as we know, because we get bombarded with it all the time. But in a long term relationship, especially in this field, that is absolutely, I think, terrible.
yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense to me. I've always kind of thought of marketing as the like lead generation, I suppose, like getting people to
Hmm.
making contact with people, and then at some point it transitions to the sales process where you're actually like trying to convert them, so to speak, or like book them for an appointment, right? But the marketing aspect is kind of the just like getting the people to to interact with you and start that conversation. Is that fair?
I think it's not so much that way with inbound marketing. So if you're doing
Okay.
inbound marketing really, really well, what you're doing is you are actually you actually are shortening the sales process dramatically.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
you're
Mhm.
using yes, you're showing up in the right places, so you're getting that lead, right? But there's a huge difference between just getting somebody to your website or getting somebody to find you and then that next process of conversion. You don't want to wait for them to call or to do that. You actually want to
Mm.
provide so much information that they trust you, they know you, they're pretty much already pre-sold, right? So and it just
Yeah.
takes so much off that process, and people don't want to talk to people on the phone anymore. So it definitely makes that different. So lead generation would be too narrow, I think, because then you've also got the full brand side, but lead generation is like critical. Like when people say, "Oh, it's just about your awareness," I'm like, well, if it
Mm.
doesn't lead to a lead generation, then like that's not good marketing either.
Right, right. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I appreciate that, clarification. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's lots to consider here. So then that kind of leads me, you've already touched on a few ways that AI can come into play in this whole process. You mentioned social media, you mentioned, almost like thought partner, like kind of brainstorming,
Right.
research, that kind of thing. Where are you seeing it to be the most, well, helpful? Let's say.
The first thing that I saw that was the most helpful was definitely the internal side, which is like the recording, right? So like recording notes and like having that. And I'm sure that you guys
Hmm.
have talked about that internally for your practices of how much to use it for that. So for us as marketers, like we're on meetings all the time. So that immediately helps. And that helps even as you're just keeping track of all of the different tactics, avenues, places that you're marketing, all that can be a little bit overwhelming. So, like having just a recording and being able to have a place where you have all that information. I don't know if you've heard of Scribe, but that is
Yeah.
a great tool, right? You can use that for just keeping track of all your SOPs for your marketing, which is great. So that was like the first thing I saw that was like, okay, that's a great time saver. The next one was definitely the editing. Are you using for your podcast? Like, are you using some of the editing tools for the AI tools?
I use Riverside, which has some basic AI stuff built in,
Yeah.
but nothing too fancy. Yeah. What are you seeing?
So captions is incredible. There's quite a few that are really really good. So what they do is, so a lot of people know that they need to do marketing tactics, right? So they know, okay, I need business, I need people to find me, so I need to be on social, I need to do a video, I need to be on YouTube, I need to have a website. So they know they need all these things, but then they do all those things and they really don't get results. And what and because they're missing the strategy, right? They're missing the like, do they really know
Hmm.
who their client is? Do they really know are they really communicating with their ideal client in the best possible way? Like doing the tactics alone will not get you success. So what some of these AI tools like Caption does is it'll take, like, let's say this video that we're doing here, and you'll plug in the different things that you know about your audience, or it'll even go research your audience, right? So it'll even like figure that out itself based on like your website or other traffic. And then it'll tailor the short clips to what would be most ideal for you to get the best results. So it's actually doing some of that strategy for you, right? You have to give it some information, but it takes it to a whole different level. And that's what so many people really struggle with. I mean, that's honestly why they come to us a lot, right? They're like, okay, I'm doing the tactics, but it's not working. I'm doing what people I thought I should be doing, but it's not making the difference. So these are little things that you can DIY yourself that can help you. So that's one that I think is super effective and would recommend for anybody doing video to use that. There's a new one I'm testing right now called Icon, which
Hmm.
I'm not super. I mean, I test things all the time. So I'm testing like 5 different products right now. Um,
Hmm.
but Icon will be great. It maybe isn't quite there now, but it helps actually create videos for you. It helps create ads for you. Again, there's this whole process where it helps you with the strategy. It helps you actually tailor it so that it's personal to you, so that it's personal to your brand. And I think AI without that piece, it's just going to be another tool that you don't get the best results from. And then the last one, like I said, I highly recommend you find either like Writer. Um, I would actually say the $200 version of ChatGPT is totally worth it. It is also well, it depends on if you want to be HIPAA compliant or not. You don't need to be with marketing, but depending on what information you're going to put in there, um,
Hmm.
Writer is HIPAA compliant, or you can do the paid version of Perplexity. But all of these, you should start developing your own brand, your own model. I'm actually creating my own agents now. So the agents are, something pretty amazing. So that you can create the agent to do the work for you
Hmm.
once you have it up and going.
Yeah, there's. I'm gonna pull on a couple threads here, just real quick, just because you're the first person on the podcast to have mentioned this.
Yeah.
Um, what's a major difference between the $20 a month Chat GPT and the $200 a month Chat GPT? Like, why would somebody upgrade? Like a mental health practice owner, why would that be helpful?
Oh my gosh, I love it so much. It's incredible. It has so many extra tools. So it has the ability to connect. Let's say you want to connect your interior CRM, customer relationship manager. You want to connect all that data, or you want to connect Canva, which would be like a design program, or you want to connect, and all of that connects directly into your LLM. Only at that level does it do that. It also has an operator function, which basically operates like an agent where you can send it off and say, I want you to go do research on the internet and find these 5 things for me. And so while you're doing something else, it goes and does that for you and then reports back.
Hmm.
It has the deep research capability much higher, and it has a
Hmm.
much higher ability to do even um, like more data pointed to like creating like a whole overall comprehensive plan. So it
Hmm.
definitely just has a lot more options. I mean, I'm not saying everybody needs it at all, but for somebody like what I'm doing, or if somebody is like working in a practice and they're maybe even, let's say they're even like an office manager, but they get tasked with doing marketing, or they get to write, because I know that happens a lot. It could be a game changer for them because it can
Yeah.
do all the things the other version does, but much higher level on that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I
Fantastic.
think it's worth trying at least for a month.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds good. Yeah. It's getting to the point. There are so many options to choose from. It's hard to sort through
right,
all of them. So
right.
thanks for digging into that for a second. Yeah. Yes. So yeah, I mean, there are all these different ways that we could use the tools. I think. So people are always interested, I think, in like you've mentioned, kind of DIY approaches,
Right.
and then there are done for you approaches
Sure.
as well. But let's start a little bit more, dig deeper into the DIY
Sure.
stuff, So, um, yeah, just interesting or applicable use cases, I suppose, for AI in marketing for a practice owner at this point that they can handle themselves.
Yeah. So I think the first thing to do would be to, don't worry about, there's like 5 different LLMs out there. There's some that are a tiny bit better at things than others. But, first look at like what your requirements are as far as HIPAA compliance. If you, who you're going to share this with, like kind of those deeper questions of like how you're going to use this, what you're comfortable with. So first, those questions. Once you decide that, just pick one and go for it. They're all good. They're all competing with each other right now. So
Yeah.
just instead of like having that, like, splitting between 10 different things, I would pick one. I would not pick a tool yet because there's so many people that are building AI tools on top of these LLMs. So in my world, I get like on Meta or Facebook, I get probably, 20, 30 a day of new AI tools that are out there, like just
Yeah.
every single day hit with them. So instead of going that way, I would really recommend going through one of the LLMs directly, because you're going to learn more, you're going to get more from them. You can always add a tool on later. But basically, the first thing I would start with is have it analyze your website, analyze your competitors. Where are the weak spots? What could you be doing differently? Um, at least from a DIY perspective, like you might not want to do all of your own SEO work because that can be really technical and hard. And SEO is now changing into GEO, uh,
Mm.
which is getting even more technical and hard. We're like in the midst of that right now. But
Mm.
but
Wait, what does GEO stand for?
generative, yeah, engine optimization.
Mm,
Or
yeah. So basically, like maximizing search for
yeah,
LLMs.
yeah, we have to, right? Because so much of the
Yeah.
search is going there, and we don't want our clients to get left out or ourselves. So we're definitely, and it's a huge shift to go that direction. The way we're having to do it, but even if you're not doing some of that work yourself, you're still going to want to know, okay, what are all the things I can do? So first of all, get your whole picture, and then figure out, okay, where can I do better? Like where's there a hole in the competition in my area, or where are people searching for help, in a particular niche or something that maybe I do, but I'm really not highlighting very well on my website or my social. So first the foundational. Then I would have it create me a whole marketing plan. From that, create basically ideas, brainstorm back and forth and create ideas for social. That can be done pretty easily. Create ideas like an entire content plan of what I could be writing about. Um, and you could even ask it. It's not always going to give you perfect information, but you can keep digging down and getting like articles to link to make sure you're getting good information. But you can ask it like, do I spend my time on LinkedIn? Do I spend my time on YouTube? Do I spend like for what I'm doing in my area, where is going to make the best, right? So
Yeah.
first the deeper questions, try to get some strategy in there, and then have it help you execute your social. Once you've got that, then you can go search for a social tool that'll help you automate that.
Okay.
That would be the easiest way to do it. You could technically create your own social agent, but that's we're right at the edge of that technology right now, so it's going to be
Hmm.
pretty time consuming to do that.
Yeah.
I would get your whole kind of package together, and then depending on where you're at, I would definitely, depending on where you're at, I would definitely take that and find another tool that'll help you automate it if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you mentioned agents. I don't know. Maybe I'm underestimating my audience, but I don't know that a ton of us are like into the stage where we're like building or deploying agents.
Yeah,
But can you just say again? You're the first person to bring it up here on the podcast, so I'm going to spotlight you to just briefly tell us what an agent is and how that's different from just like using an LLM
sure.
normally.
I would like stay up since 2 o'clock in the morning working on this. So I mean, I know I'm a little nerdy about these things. So basically, what an agent does at this phase, it's going to get much different as it moves on, as the technology keeps improving. But what it does right now is you can create an agent, which basically is like its own operating AI piece that will basically automate processes that you do in house all the time. So you could create an agent to say, every time I get an email that says this or relates to this, I want you to create a task for me that does this. Every time I get a review or I'm doing a very simple one. Every time I get a
Mhm.
review or somebody comments on my social media, I want you to ping this person, and then I want you to suggest this response, and then I want you to do this, and it will automate and do all that for you. So
Mhm.
those are some real basic ones. The one I just created does all the research that I do all the time. So I've created it to research every breaking news article related to mental health and behavioral health
Mhm.
that comes out, and then it gives me, based on like the criteria that I put in it, it gives me like the top three that then I can use for my newsletters and obviously read them, and make sure that I'm like curating the best content for clients that would be interested in that. So
Yeah.
there's a lot. I mean, that's super basic. It's like I said, going to get really really good. But even now, it's still helpful.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think there's a lot of talk about agents and a lot of confusion at the same time, like what they actually are and
Yeah.
how do we use them. But
Yeah.
this is cool. So we talked about some DIY options. What about more advanced? If someone did want to move up to more of like a done for you kind of situation, what again, how are you kind of deploying these tools and maybe take that to the next level for a you know a practice?
So we made a decision. I was telling you the whole dark night of the soul time that I had.
Yeah. By the way, let's hold on. Let's pause there. What was that? Dark night of the soul. That's a pretty descriptive term. What happened?
I was just, speaking about AI everywhere. I was, like I said, pretty ahead because I started really playing with it and coming and learning about it and like believing it was the next thing, even before ChatGPT came out. So I kind of had a little bit of a head start. So when ChatGPT came out, I was getting speaking engagements everywhere and like, really focused on it and excited about it. I was like seeing all these
Mm,
possibilities. The more I got into it and then read some books and, watched some horrible videos of some people that want us to go a transhuman route.
oh gosh.
I mean, really, it's horrible. It just like was hurting my soul. Literally, I'm like, do I
Mm,
even want to be a part of this? Because,
mm-hmm.
I've seen over the past 20 years what social media and internet has done to our culture and specifically kids.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some serious negatives, right? I mean, we know
Yep.
that from a mental health situation. So, really, it was wrestling with, do I even want to stay in an industry that has anything to do with AI? And,
Yeah.
and where, if I do, what's my position on this? The worst book I read was actually by late Henry Kissinger.
Mm,
And it was between him, like he wrote this right before he passed, between him and
mm-hmm.
one of the founders of Google. And it was just so it was just such a terrible, like a dystopian type future that they were kind of pointing to, right?
Wow. Yes.
And that was kind of what pushed me over. But as I came out of it, I decided to stay in it, and I really was like, okay, so if we as the little guys, the small businesses, the independents, the individuals, if we don't learn this, then all of the control will be from like the large corporate giants, right? Like
Yeah. That's
so
fair.
so I just was like, I have to, if I'm gonna do this, like I have to have that thought process behind it. So that's what brought me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense to me. I especially agree with that point that we have to have some versatility and some understanding of this
Yeah.
concept, all these concepts to even know what's going on,
Yeah.
lest we be controlled by the
Yes,
corporate.
exactly. I want to have some autonomy. I want to have some agency and be able to help others do the same.
Sure, sure. Okay, so thanks for taking that little
Yeah, no
detour,
problem.
but yeah. So let's get back to those more advanced maybe tactics that y'all are working on.
So yeah, so after that, we made a decision internally of okay, how do we want to bring AI into Beacon? On what level? What are our values around that? And so what we decided to do. A lot of agencies have laid off like a lot of staff members because you can speed up production, right? You can use AI to supplement, or they've basically kept their business the same but not told their clients that hey, things are easier now. So we decided to not take that approach. So we basically told our entire staff of 35 staff members, and we told them we want everyone to keep their job. We want you to be here a long time. We even want to, be able to hire people, but we're not going to be able to do that unless we all, get on board with AI. And what that means is, if we don't want to lower our prices, if we don't want to lower the prices, then we actually need to deliver a lot more value to the
Yeah,
clients. And so that's really the tactic that we've taken. And so it's worked pretty well so far. Like we're just delivering faster, we're delivering better product, we're getting better results. So we haven't raised our prices, but we haven't lowered our prices, but we're just delivering a lot more. And I think it's going to be that way for a little while. And then there probably will hit a point where, if like web is completely transformed, it goes a different direction, we probably will move more into like the consulting, where we're still doing some of the work that people don't want to do, like let's say the GEO stuff, which it's pretty difficult actually.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But if people can do more and more stuff themselves, then we're really just like helping them consult, learn, and grow so they can do it. But I do see a pathway through now, which feels like a good pathway where it still helps people a lot. It keeps staff, and it actually gives better results.
That's really good to hear. Yeah, yeah. I think there's so many paths. I mean, well, there's two paths you can take. Like you said, you can either, use AI to do everybody's job and fire everyone,
Yeah,
or
it's
you can
definitely what
try to
some
keep
people are
people.
doing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, hundred
So
percent.
I think there's a real cost to that, not just the human cost of jobs, which we didn't want to do that, but there's a real cost to that, and that part of what makes it work so well, and this is the caution on the DIY, is that what part of makes it work so well is that you know the right questions to ask, and you know what success looks like.
Right.
So like you do need to understand like what does a great user friendly website look like? How does it perform? If you just tell ChatGPT make me a website, I mean I've seen them. They're not good. So it's
Right.
like it. I mean I've heard it said by multiple people now that the difference once we all become AI operators on some level will be taste. And I think there's some truth to that. Like your knowledge and everything that you've learned and your experience will help inform whether what you're doing is good or not.
That makes a lot of sense. I was going to ask you this question since we went down this path of do you have any concern that these tools are going to essentially replace professionals? Maybe it's marketing, maybe it's blogging, maybe it's whatever. Maybe it's neuropsych report writing, like what we do.
Right.
But I mean, at least from your perspective, yeah. How do you approach that in terms of these tools just getting more and more advanced and user friendly?
Absolutely. I think they'll replace like 80%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll be a lot. So, I mean, obviously, we're trying to position ourselves in the 20%. I think there'll be a lot of new jobs that come out of it, different types of jobs for that. But no question that, like, if I was an agency and we were focused on blog writing, I would be really worried right now. Like,
Yeah.
really worried because that's just not, they already are replacing and they're producing better. So it doesn't mean you don't. So it's not like you get rid of completely the human element because maybe you needed one person to write 20 blogs a month before, and now one person can use AI and write 100 great blogs a month, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's not that you don't have any humans involved, but it definitely changes the trajectory of what that looks like. I mean, that's four jobs technically, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
for
yeah,
sure.
I think anybody who says it's not going to, like, they're just not looking at the what's happening right now. It's already happening.
It sure seems like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the optimist in me, and I am an AI optimist. The hope is that it helps us to utilize our higher level capabilities, right?
Yeah.
So maybe we're not creating a lot of minutia and just like generating content for content's sake. Maybe we get to evolve into kind of high level editors or something like that, versus where we're really thinking critically about the content and can tweak it just enough, to be really, really good. That's the optimistic part.
I After I came out of my dark night, that is actually where I've ended up too, and I've actually
Mm-hmm.
seen it now over the last 6 months. So
Mm-hmm.
I've seen Beacon transform into a much better company because our team is spending so much more time on strategy and so much
Mm-hmm.
more time on really thoughtful design and execution and um, you know campaigns, and they're just at such a higher level, and that's only been 6 months. So I'm really excited now that I've actually seen it play out a little bit where people aren't spending their time on like that admin stuff that is just mind numbing, right?
Right.
um, and then the other thing that I told you about the book I'm writing, so i think I think it's hard for us to even conceptualize yet, which is why I'm more of an optimist now too, because we really are like coming out of the information age. Where the information age, we were just inundated with, we still are, we're inundated with information, and most of it is not valuable.
Yeah.
And we're moving into, I really believe, the age of intelligence, where emotional intelligence, spiritual intelligence, um, expertise, all of those things are going to have a much bigger role. And that
Hmm.
part I'm really excited about.
Yeah, yeah. It's good to hear you say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope that. I mean, I think that's probably true. I hope that's probably
I
true.
hope so
Yeah.
too, for sure.
Right.
I want to be,
Right.
well, I'll put it this way. I think we have a choice, right? That's why I want to be involved in it. So I think the more we all get to decide how we deal with this. So we can choose to use it for good. We can choose to encourage others to do the same and respond to that. So yeah,
It's a great point. Now, with all that said, we should probably talk about some of the downsides here,
yeah,
and ethics and challenges with using AI in marketing. I'll start with a question I think that ties back to what we were just saying, which is, do you have any fear, especially from a marketing standpoint? And I know there's a lot under that umbrella, but there's a lot of talk of just how the internet is being flooded with this AI slop, and it's muddying everything and diluting the quality of everything on the internet. What do you have concerns about that? If so, I mean, how do you think about that?
yeah. And it's been going on a long time though. Yes, I have concerns about it. I see it on LinkedIn especially. I used to love LinkedIn, and now it's like, oh, like you can tell like 80% of the stuff written on there is AI.
Yeah.
Um, I definitely have concerns about it. I think we were already there though, with like
Mm,
so many people just writing social or just writing blogs just to try to fool Google. Like they're not writing anything of value, right? They're just repeating the same thing over and over and over again. So it's different in that it's more obviously something you can tell that it's just off. Um, yes,
it's
I
a good
definitely
point.
have concerns I probably have more like societal concerns than I do marketing, because marketing was
Mm,
kind of already, forgive me, but marketing was kind of already in the toilet.
okay. Yeah.
So, so it's like the what I try to do every day is do something different than that. And when you do something different than what the norm is, you actually stand out. If you put
I
out
like that.
really high quality content and a message that really resonates on a deep level, it does tend to stand out. So I've already kind of been in that mindset. But yeah, I'm more worried societally than I am even from a marketing standpoint.
That's reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe that does segue into the conversation about downsides or challenges,
Sure.
with using AI in marketing. Yeah. What's top of mind for you as far as challenges?
Well, marketing slash society. I guess the when I think of messaging being put out that can really hurt people, right? And we've already seen that over the last 10, 20 years. Social internet, whether it's bullying online or messages that are definitely lies and not true, and you can't tell, and it's hard. So, like, all of those things hurt us as a society from a trust standpoint. I think the worst thing, what I'm
Hmm.
seeing now, is that people are using AI now in replacement of people, right? Like
Hmm.
relationships. And
Yeah.
like that to me is just like you're continuing down that really kind of scary trajectory of we need each other, and like AI cannot replace that. So that's probably my core piece right there.
Mm. I think that resonates, yeah, I mean, with the mental health folks, certainly. As, and there are some pretty sophisticated options out there for
Yeah.
folks who are
Well,
willing to pursue it.
so the one encouragement, I know we're talking about downsides, but the one encouragement I give to the mental health community is that I like to think about the fact that organic food did not even exist as its own entity or its own. We never talked about organic food when I grew up, right? I feel
Hmm.
like processed food became the norm. Like there was no room to like highlight the value of organic food, which has become more valuable than like what we see in regular processed food, right? Definitely more expensive. People value it higher as far as like if it's real food. Um, I do think like that will benefit a lot of mental health providers, and that people will see the value in having it in person. So I think it might take a little while, but I think
Hmm.
that will be the natural comeback to having so much online and so much automated.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel the same way. I have not come up with an elegant metaphor like that, but I really like that, the organic food comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't even know. what's better until there's something worse to compare to.
Yeah, which is like, do we have to go through the worst to get there? I don't know what that's going to look like, but I do think we'll get there because people naturally. I see it in my husband's business every day. He owns a tour company, and it is like taken off now around the world where people want to travel and connect and meet with other people. And
Yeah.
that it's a kind of a newer trend, like how much people are wanting to do that. And
Yes.
I think it is just our natural desire to connect with human beings and not screens. So,
I agree.
yeah.
I agree. Well said. So we've talked about a lot of different things.
Yeah, yeah,
Now, and like we said, there's plenty of ways to utilize AI on your own if you want to. You've given us some, I think, fantastic concrete ideas. If people do want to go to the next level and maybe work with a professional like yourself, how will they do that? What's that process like?
Well, I would say first thing, even if somebody just has a question and they want to reach out, I have a 15-minute calendar that I open up on LinkedIn, and
Mm,
I love to do that. I get quite a few opportunities to do that now on a weekly basis, and somebody can just reach out to me on LinkedIn, and I will take 15 minutes and we'll talk through a problem or an AI thing they're looking at. So love to do that. So that's one thing. Don't have to do anything with Beacon.
nice,
That's just a free gift. And then if they want to reach out to Beacon, it's beaconmm.com. And we have a great, in-house team that'll talk to them, give them a free discovery. Even if they don't work with us, I think we have about 60 people that reach out a month, and we only take on about 4 clients a month. But like, you're still going to get that same, like, here's like where you're at, here's what you could be doing. You're going to get like a lot of information, and then you get to decide whether it's a good fit, or not.
yeah, yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
I love that, and we'll make sure to put your LinkedIn and other contact info in the show notes so
great.
folks can check that out. But I appreciate the conversation. This, I will say, took some different turns than I expected, but I like that we dipped into some of the philosophical stuff and, some little nuances about these different AI programs and so forth. Yeah, this was really fun. It's good to connect with you, Jennifer.
Yeah, same with you. Thank you for letting me go down a couple of rabbit trails. I spend way too much time in my head working on all this stuff and thinking about it, so it's nice to share a little bit.
Definitely. Yeah, well, I feel like we're at the stage with AI. Maybe it'll be a long stage. I don't know, but it's like you can't discuss it without dipping into some of those areas, and the philosophy behind it and what's it going to do to society and
Yeah,
all those things. So, yeah, thanks for playing along.
absolutely. Yeah, thanks for the time.